No, I knew it poured out. That's how you get a couple before you go. Brothers, down in the sun somewhere, what is it? Yeah, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Sure. Last time I saw a crowd like this, for real, it's like, I see what that I told that. I saw. It's not so good up in one for yeah. Something to kind of aggregate. We got knocked a couple. Never went out. I know there's stuff down in Kelly Road. There's supposedly a tree down like that. I didn't see it. No, we got nothing. I saw it. Ryan. That was a first was coming away, it was like 4. I didn't think it was. Yeah. Okay. I can do their work because I have money. Right. There was no something there. I might have taken a public comment. And just say, they don't like to see me here, so. Yeah, I know, they don't know me. I mean, like, you know. John's the only one. He was very good. Probably on the floor, so. Yeah. It's a filter down here. I mean, he stands? Yeah, just for swim swing or something. I don't think I'd get him to bring him over there. Sorry. You're not bringing them home already. Hey. That was pretty cool. Hey, you might have forgotten it. There was no thinking at all about it. All right.
Okay.
She's still running around her scooter now? Can't keep her down.
I got to the laundry.
Oh, no.
Oh, you're just a new maid. That's what you are.
Felt like a house. Yeah.
You can come do my house too. I'm not a very good one.
No, just fine. Thank you.
Hey, you know what Saturday? No, it's just past Saturday. Did she get over it?
Yeah.
The night.
So I told him, I'll take you there, you know. That's good. And it's everybody's gonna be looking at me.
No, they don't.
Cares.
Nobody would care about it. They're more interested in going like this. I figured it should be out.
The wind stopped blowing. I don't like sheet here, but stop it. It's calls, but it don't actually there, right?
Computer version.
That's the way she would be.
No, okay. That's the, he gave me the rest of it.
It's that, it's the phone up there on the.
Oh. My phone is always telling a story. It's junk, you know. I just, no, it's a car. But he's always picking on me anyway. He's changed.
We had already today. I don't know.
What? I haven't seen him. I don't.
Go for his off. How much wine did you have?
Yep. It's a pretty good food on. You think Bob, but she's there.
It's just
I don't think it's just, right up there. You know, you thought it right. Understand
Oh.
Good Lord. She, you know, remember that. Yeah, I'm saying that it was not like you. Judith, I'm gonna be. You know what, I'm getting this. No. It's the alternative. That's right out there. Not easy. Nobody. Nobody around. It's me or nobody. It's me or nobody. And it's just, I just. I know, she was good. She was a really nice person. But it's- You know, I can't, I lose names.
Me too.
I'm good. Not doing good. Yeah, I noticed that. Couple of times, soloists. Let's see what it might be. Yeah.
February 17th. For supervisors, what are we running in effect? Executive session discussing matters of litigation. Next, the approval of the minutes for January 20th.
Make a motion that we approve the meeting minutes for Monday, January 21st.
And a second, all in favor? Aye. Announcements.
Thank you. Registration for day camp is now open. Team camp registration will open on Tuesday, February 18th, followed by spring program registration on Tuesday, February 25th. The 30th annual egg hunt will be held at Warwick Community Park on Saturday, April 12th at 1 p.m. Kids ages 2 to 10 are invited to join other children from their age group, scour the field and gather eggs. Pictures with the bunny will also be available. Registration for the 14th annual spring cleaning flea market is on Saturday, May 3rd. Will open on Tuesday, February 25th. Space is limited and spots fill quickly. For more information, please visit warwickrec.com.
Thank you. Citizens comment, we have no citizen, no one signed up. Anybody from the audience? All right, moving on, management report.
Okay, thank you. The first item on the agenda is honoring our longtime chairwoman, Judith Aljo. The first part of this tribute is a resolution that I'd like to read from the Warwick Township Board of Supervisors. It's a resolution of the Warwick Township Board of Supervisors honoring the distinguished service of Supervisor Judith A. Aljo. Whereas the Board of Supervisors, of Warwick Township, hereby issues this proclamation in recognition of Supervisor Judith A. Alger's 30 years of dedicated service to the residents of Warwick Township. Whereas in August 1994, Judith was appointed to the Warwick Township Zoning Hearing Board. And whereas in January 2000, Judith was elected to the Warwick Township Board of Supervisors, where she served with distinction for over 2 decades. And whereas under her leadership, Warwick Township has witnessed the successful completion of several significant initiatives, including the acquisition of over 400 acres of preserved open space, the development of Memorial Park, the expansion of the township sidewalk and trail system, the establishment of the emergency medical service station on Meyer Way, and the revitalization of Guinea Lane Park. And whereas such accomplishments reflect an extraordinary level of dedication, hard work, and commitment to the betterment of Warwick Township. Therefore, be it resolved this 17th day of February 2025, the Board of Supervisors of Warwick Township formally honors Supervisor Judith A. Algio for her lifetime of unwavering service to her community, recognizing her as an exceptional leader whose contributions will leave a lasting legacy. At this time, the Board of Supervisors could entertain a motion to adopt this resolution.
Can I get a motion?
Sure can. Best motions ever. Make a motion that we adopt resolution 2025-14, Chairwoman Judith A. Algio. Consider adoption.
And a second. All in favor? Aye.
For the next part of this, I'd like to come down so I can read the flags. Not only do we have the resolution, but thinking of what we could also do for her, was something that we wanted to spend a lot of time on, really come up with something that we felt like would honor her, something that she would cherish. And there's a walking trail that she was part of planning. It's a walking trail that connects the Mullen House to Memorial Park. On that trail is a pedestrian bridge. That bridge is visible from her home on Creek Road. And Frank just over the weekend sent me a beautiful picture of the snow that had fallen on that bridge and kind of just lightly covered it in snow. So that's what we thought would be a very nice way of honoring her legacy. And that's what this plaque is, which will be mounted to the bridge. It's a plaque that dedicates this bridge in her name. This bridge is dedicated in memory of the township chairperson, Judith A. Algio. Judith proudly served Warwick Township for 30 years in the capacity of a zoning hearing board member since 1994 and a Warwick Township supervisor since 1999. Her legacy and fortitude shall forever remain in our memory as the cornerstone to the community Warwick Township has become. So at this time, the board may wish to entertain a motion to dedicate this bridge in Judith's honor.
Of course. I have a motion to dedicate the headquarters of Trail Bridge to Judith Algio.
Make a motion that we adopt that wonderful, beautiful plaque in a motion for Judith.
Can I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
The last section from the township is a commemorative plaque that can be placed in her home. Again, it's similar language to what I've just read. And I am aware that there's somebody here from Congressman Fitzpatrick's office. So I'll ask them if they wish to come up. They're not here. Okay.
Actually, Senator Farrelly and
Oh, Senator Ferry's here. So I'll ask if Senator Ferry would like to come up and Representative Marcel.
Thank you, Kyle, and thank you to the board for allowing us to be here tonight and be part of this great memorial honoring Judith's service to the community. The first thing we have standing in for our county commissioners, and unfortunately, Congressman Fitzpatrick is actually overseas And I don't think the staff is able to make it here tonight, but I'm sure they'll be catching up with you in due time. But the county commissioners, Harvey, Marseglia, and DiGirolamo, combination honoring Judith's life and service to the community. So I would like to present that to you first. And then, you know, it's always a wonderful testament when you actually know some of the great work an individual has done over the years when you are memorializing them. And Representative Marcel and I are both here with recognitions from the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. If the board will indulge me, I think it's important to read this because of all of her service. Both condolence resolutions are very similarly worded. This particular one is from the Senate, and it reads as follows, and you're okay with me addressing the family, correct? Okay, thank you. Whereas the Senate of Pennsylvania mourns the loss of Judith Ann Algio, Esquire, who passed away on January 1st, 2025. And whereas the daughter of the late Hugh and Rita Algio, Miss Algio graduated from Good Shepherd Parish School. She earned a bachelor's degree in criminal justice and sociology, and also a master's degree in pastoral ministry from LaSalle College. Also, she graduated with a Juris Doctorate from Temple University. Miss Algio was employed for a time with the Bell Telephone Company and served as a social worker with the De La Salle Vocational and St. Gabriel's Hall, as well as Director of Residential Services for Tabor Services. During her legal career, she was recognized for her unique blend of compassion, zeal, personal presence, trial skill, and she frequently took on many pro bono clients. Miss Algio led a parent lawyer group in juvenile dependency court and several hundreds of children and elders as guardian ad litem in dependency and orphans court. A past president of the Bucks County Bar Association, she chaired many committees, helped start the Bucks County Bar Foundation, and twice received the Pennsylvania Bar Association Pro Bono Award. Ms. Algio further served as a board member of the Legal Aid of Southeastern Pennsylvania, where she mentored young, promising parent advocates. Whereas active in our community, Ms. Algio was lauded as one of the first female volunteer firefighters in Warwick Township, a past chair of the Interagency Youth Coalition of Bucks County, and a founding member of the Bucks County AIDS Network. She served on the boards of the National Network for Youth and the Hatboro Federal Savings. Following 5 years on the Warwick Township Zoning Board, Ms. Algio was elected to the Township Board of Supervisors in 1999 and held the position of chair. She served for over 20 years. Now therefore be it resolved that the Senate of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania notes with great sadness the passing of Judith Ann Algio, Esquire, whose life greatly benefited all those who lived, served, and worked with her, and extends heartfelt condolences to her husband Frank, daughter Shannon, 3 grandchildren, and many other family members, friends. So, sir, I'm sorry for your loss, but thank you for sharing Judy with the community, because you certainly shared her in many ways.
I just wanted to quickly add that both of these will be included in the history essentially of the Senate and Pennsylvania House. And so her legacy and lifetime of service will be part of our history. Just thank you again for all of her contributions and for including us this evening.
This time, Frank, did you want to say a few words? Sure. Thank you.
Thanks all. Feel free to turn my back to. I want to thank you all for being here. I'll try and get through it. In addition to Shannon and Catherine, welcome and introduce Judith's sister, Charity, and her husband, Jimmy, Judith's sister, Donna, and our good friends, Marcia's, Mary Ellen Taylor, who's been a part of this community for just even longer than Judith, and Patrick, a member of the fire company. So first about the name, if you knew Judith before 1986, you called her Judy. And if you met her after 1986, you should have told her aloud. If you respect Senator, you get a flyer. Of course, Cornells, the McCartys, still to this day, call her Judy, as do sisters, among others. I don't, because I came in 1989. Even with that. Call her Judy. I'll call it Judith's Bridge if you don't mind, and, because of Judith's Bridge, as far as I'm concerned, and it's really a very special place. I hope you get to, go down there, take your cans with you when you leave. She really liked this room, for what it did here, and for what you all did here. She came into office with Ned Thompson. We ran together, and Frank Lusso was the chair. Frank couldn't be with us tonight, some health issues. And they turned this township from a place of really closed deals and a lack of trust from the community to a community that could trust its leadership. They ran on that platform and then they delivered that platform throughout their time in service. And then John stepped in for Frank, I guess, if I count right. You have two burdens as a panel. The first is to not go beyond 17 minutes unless I'm talking. She would. And she was also so very proud that in a lot of years, you were able to continue your work without a tax increase. She thought it important to the families of this community that they not feel the burden, of government, but rather feel it's in a way it's blessing in their lives. And so she wasn't a nut about taxes. She just would never approve. And yet with that, you all continued to deliver an extraordinary service throughout your time. She loved the staff. She trusted you, Kyle, and Gail before you, and
Joe.
Joe. And she never tried to, it was always important for her to not get in the way of you folks. Never to take credit, always to nod to you folks for your leadership and your service. So that's what she believed in. She believed in individuals and in being with you as person. That was the presence she brought to every person she dealt with, as professional, as neighbor, as sibling, and as friend. And those are just wonderful models for us and for us all. Thank you all for being here. She knew each of you, and you know that about her. You were with her, she was with you. And what more do we want from a friend? Thank you. Thanks so very much.
That said, if you'd like to take members of the community that you wish to speak, now could be an appropriate time to do so. We'll give a pause to see if there's anyone else wants to speak today.
I served you 20-some years, actually. And Shannon, how you know, I haven't seen you for a long time. Thank you for sharing it with us, for sharing it with me. But Judith is a special person. You got to know Judith. She cared about everybody. She cared about everybody she met. She was unique individual. She had an extraordinary personality, what I could see. Very intelligent, soft-hearted, soft-spoken, would constantly listen. And a bit of a humor wit at times. It's like just a short and sometimes also. Mom deserved it. Right? But she also had the knack to solve problems with common sense, where you listened to her and you knew she was right. And she was just so honest with everybody. And she told you exactly how she felt all the time. I feel privileged that Judith was a friend, and I'm privileged to sit up here with her for 22 years. She meant a lot to me, Frank. She meant a lot to my family, to the point I'd go home at night, be running late. And I said, I can't stay, I have to get to a board meeting. And the first thing everyone would say to me, how's Judith? When they ask me how I would. So, thank you for sharing it with us. Thank you. Thank you.
If there's anybody else who would like to say a few words, now would be an appropriate time. At this time, board will continue with the agenda items on the agenda. Obviously, everybody here is welcome to stay and participate with us. Well, we also understand if you'd like to leave. So we'll take a few minute break. Or do that opportunity. So thank you.
My son.
I know. So if I I know. Like, So like I could be crying. Like my coffee. Whatever you need, especially.
This is the guy. Hey, there. Oh, yeah, that's right. Right. I don't know, like, yeah, that's my book. First one, stop. Appreciate it. And they put you 2 years ago. That's advertising.
I'm still not here every year, dude. Become my best, I'm going to want to know.
Appreciate it.
Next item on the agenda is the Historical Society presentation. The Historical Society is pursuing the reconstruction of an addition to the carriage house structure located on the Mullen House property. Mullen House property is owned by the Township. The Historical Society acts as a steward to the property and is required to obtain the Township's approval prior to making any building modifications. The photo you see on the wall, is the original carriage house, walls that the Historical Society wishes to rebuild. There's also a rendering on the board in front of the TV. Is there a representative? I see Mary Gaiman from the Historical Society to make this presentation.
John, I don't think Commissioner Viola and Ms. Tabor have had the pleasure of meeting here. Hello. Everyone knows, I hope, that down at the Mullen House. If done, please do yourself a favor and go to Mullen.org. The Mullen House is the crown jewel of Warwick Township. Something we will be very proud of watching this paper letters for 13 days. Plans are something we want to do. It's all about building, rebuilding an adjunct not only addition, it's a restoration of what was already there once. On the west end of the Mullins. Right down the side, looks like it bombed out our site. It's terrible because the rest of the Mullen House property is gorgeous. Our Warwick Township Society members spend so much time taking care of the grounds, from fixing the garden and taking care of the needs of the house, restoring it. And this is the only really sore spot in the whole place. And we would really fix it up. And we're going to tell them that. And, I personally would like to see a gift shop there. My friend here, Mr. Dave Bowman, is very much against it. And I'm going to tell him, I'm going to get him on my side for me. And I have a very good idea of why we should do it. A year and a half from now, everybody in Philadelphia is going to be at the Independence Hall. Warwick Township, everybody is going to be at the Mullen House for the 250th anniversary of our nation. There's going to be fireworks, there's going to be ice cream and cake, all the kids will be there. The whole township is going to make a wonderful get together for the whole community. And we're going to sell so much merch. That if we don't have a gift shop to sell it from, people will be very disappointed. So I hope that's what it'll end out to be. But in any case, we want to build it. And Kyle was kind enough to send the building inspector to look at it. He saw the problems, but he thinks he doesn't feel qualified. He wants an engineer to come look at it. So please,
Sure.
Any questions?
I just have a comment. I rode over to the Mullen House and I hadn't been there in some time, maybe a year or so. The work you folks have done is just incredible. Beautiful facility. And anybody that wants to go and wander around, it really is worth the trip.
I have a question, just a question. The rendering here is accurate to what it was, once was.
No. It's very much like it, but they were knowing that we're calling on that place. I put it in the bay window because it was going to be a big shop. Just to display.
And what's the timeline for?
We have the greatest copy in the whole world. The one who did the Mullen House restoration. He gave us a very good price. And we managed to do it. All these.
Expected completion would be,
Well, possibly one reenactment in August.
okay,
Not certainly for 250 dollars for 3 years. United States of America.
So Murray, were you a salesperson before you?
No, I'm going to be honest. You're sitting in front of me.
Yes. That's what we started. Gave me so much. Thanks very much.
thank you.
You need a motion?
Yes, to authorize the addition, I would say, similar to how it's to be presented.
Okay.
I make a motion that the Warwick Township Historic Society Carriage House Edition presentation as presented. Favor?
Let's say,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next on the agenda is land development 25-01 Hallmark Building Group located 1908 York Road. They submitted a sketch plan application. January 10th, this year, they submitted that sketch plan application. The applicant now proposes to subdivide the 7.267 acre residential parcel into 11 B1 single family dwelling units with an associated stormwater management lot. Prior to this submission, the developer reviewed a 9-lot subdivision plan to staff. The 9-lot plan included more zoning compliant open space and York Road emergency access. Due to those reasons, the 9-lot plan is preferred plan to staff. Staff also would point out that road widening and improvements not shown on the plan until the York Road sidewalk outside of the PennDOT right way, which was shown on the 11-lot plan. Should the York Road sidewalk continue to be House Road, the sidewalk would have to be located. The application, excuse me, the applicant is before the Board of Supervisors tonight seeking sketch plan feedback. So we have the 9-lot up now. The applicant wishes to discuss that one, and discuss the 11-lot.
We are here to discuss the 11-lot sketch plan that was submitted, but before I do, first, I just want to say thank you. That was a beautiful tribute to Judith Algia. She was my law partner at Eastford and Gray for a number of years, and she's definitely missed, so that was very nice tribute. Yeah, so we're here to discuss the 11-lot plan. If I may, and since Kyle brought this up, we came in for a staff meeting with regard to this plan. And why we showed this plan was we said, look, here's a 9-lot, it's by right, but there are numerous waivers that would be needed in order to make this a feasible development. It's not possible to develop this 9-lot and then make all the required improvements, that are required by the ordinances. And so that was the discussion we had. And then we also knew, because this property has a long history, as everyone probably knows. This is, has the single family dwelling in the barn on it at the time now, currently, but there have been many developers coming before this township with different types of developments. And we were here most recently for the current owner of the property back in 2022. We started a project with a daycare center and then also another 4 lots that would contain single family dwellings.
And as we got through the process, we started getting the approvals, but then we realized it was not feasible. Again, not feasible because the amount of costs for the off-site improvements that the township wanted to see, which includes sidewalk all the way down to the meeting house, and then sidewalk along Stony that connects to Sweet Rock. So there were a lot of costs, so that was not feasible. And because it wasn't feasible, that project had to die after the property owner spent a lot of time, significant time and money trying to get the approvals. And we tried to work out some kind of settlement with regard to those improvements, but we were unable to do so. And that is why the current owner of the property has now put it under agreement with the equitable owner, which is Hallmark Building Group. And that's why when we came in, we tried to explain that in a staff meeting, and we said, that's why the 9 lots, it's not gonna work. We can't build it. It's not feasible. It's not gonna happen. But we said, with the 11 lots, if maybe you put the 11 lot subdivision up, the 11 lots then would not need any waivers. No waiver requests. We'd be able to make all the required improvements. And in addition, we would be able to add the sidewalk, the off-site sidewalk that is not required by the ordinance, but that the developer was willing to do in order to move forward with the 11 lot subdivision. And another thing about this 11 lot subdivision I think is extremely important is it meets all of the zoning requirements. It's not like they're trying to put too much on this lot. It meets all the zoning requirements. The only requirement it doesn't meet is the entire amount of the active open space. And the active open space is recreation. It's recreational fields. It talks about municipal owned recreational fields. And this is not suitable for recreational fields here, this type of development and this type of use. And there's single family, or there's residential dwellings to behind the property. And there's just, it would not be suitable to place pickleball courts, tennis courts in that neighborhood development that is behind this property. And the ordinance allows for a fee in lieu if it's not suitable for the entire amount of the active open space. But the common open space, that's being met, that requirement's being met. So again, it meets zoning, all the zoning requirements except active open space, which is not suitable for this development. So that's why we have asked for the 11 lot subdivision. That's what we're putting forth now, because again, as we discussed in the staff meeting, we said the 9 lot was not feasible. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Kristen Holmes, who is a project engineer, so that she can run through the 11 lot subdivision. But
good evening. So the 11 lot plan, as you see before you, proposes a cul-de-sac road running through the center of the property with direct access for all 11 lots to that cul-de-sac road. We do have stormwater management proposed near the corner of Meyer and Stony, as that is the low point of the property, so that is naturally where everything drains. It wasn't one of the comments in the review letter. We can certainly touch on the review letter, but there was a comment regarding lot area regarding that stormwater lot, and that we can easily accommodate. We will convert that to an easement on lot 11's property so that we are not short of any dimensional criteria for a lot just for that particular use of the stormwater facility. The cul-de-sac does have sidewalk running all around. We are showing sidewalk along all of the frontages. And I know there was mention to the sidewalk along York Road. This sketch does show it internal to the site, just for purposes of that section of York Road. As we get south along there, there are grading challenges through there. There are embankments along the side of the road. It is a higher speed road. So we just felt that it was safer to provide the pedestrian path a little further from the roadway itself and up on that higher elevation to keep things a little more level as far as slope goes and accessibility and so forth. So that was one of the main reasons as to why the sidewalk was shown where it is outside of the right of way. We do understand the comments, as far as having that within the right of way. And that's, certainly something we can look at, but again, from the grading challenges that we have there, we still think if it were within the right of way, that it would make sense to keep it close to that right of way line within the right of way because of the elevations and the slopes that we have along there. There's if you're familiar with it, there is the sort of the old roadbed of Old York Road that ran through there. And we think that probably makes the most sense for a pathway through there because of the existing conditions and the elevations through there without having to cut through the embankment that we have that runs and abuts the side of the roadway itself. So that's why we feel it is better for many reasons to keep it further off the roadway than abutting it with a small grass strip like you typically would have throughout the township. Generally of other improvements, but that generally summarizes the plan in there. We do have the common open space that borders along the rear of the lots. The lots 8 through 11 back up to Myers Ave, which backs up directly to the public right of way. So they would have access to the open space via no sidewalks along Meyer Way, coming around to the open space area. And all of the other lots have direct access immediately to the rear of their properties. And whatever the board would like, we can certainly go through review letters, whatever you'd prefer to discuss.
We have the review letters, so, I have a couple questions, I'll start. What is the length of the cul-de-sac?
It is compliant to Salvador requirements 500 feet.
What about road widening? We haven't talked about road widening.
Along Meyer and Stony. So the sketch actually does show the widening in the areas where it is deficient on there. And that is it's a portion of each of the roads. For the majority of Meyer Way, it meets the requirements of it. So it's just towards the intersection of Stony, where it's just slightly narrow by a few feet from what the ordinance requires. And then for Stony, as you come down south down that intersection, that is all compliant to width up to essentially where the cul-de-sac is proposed. And then south of that is again just a few feet short of the width requirements. So this sketch does show widening for Stony south of the cul-de-sac to meet that requirement. And it does show it up along Meyer as well. We did have this discussion with the planning commission and wanted to discuss it again with the board because there was question as to whether it was something the township truly wanted as far as widening of Meyer Way. There was some probably comments in the reverse that it might not make sense to widen Meyer Way just because then it would allow additional parking on the road and other potential constraints. The planning commission, I believe, felt that it may not be worth doing the widening there. So again, we are showing that, but we do think it potentially would make sense to request a waiver from that if it's not something that.
If we provided a waiver for the street widening, would we be able to claw back some open space? I hate to give up open space. This is really against my better judgment.
For the active open space. We are compliant to the common open space and a portion of that active open space. But again, the active open space here, is, as Julie mentioned, is more for recreational fields and court type use, which doesn't seem as suitable for a single family subdivision being proposed.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with the townhouses to the rear. Because I do know with the previous applications when we were here for the singles along this southern property and the daycare, there were some residents here that were concerned with those proposed uses as well. So adding recreation fields into there, I think would just potentially add to that concern.
So,
On the cul-de-sac, does the cul-de-sac line up with Sweet Briar across the way?
It lines up with Rock Crest,
Rock line.
directly across, yes,
It does.
it does.
So,
This plan then is not containing the emergency access.
Correct. It doesn't show the emergency access on here. If you did see the comment, we understood the comment there. These homes will be sprinklered. There will be emergency access from each of the road frontages through here. We did hear it at the planning commission as well. It is something we can look at for that, but didn't feel it was potentially as necessary for the single family type use, but it is something we can look at.
how many parking places per house?
We have, I believe, 4 in the driveway. exclusive of the garage.
right? And will be parking on the street.
I believe it's up to the ordinance, it meets the ordinance requirements for cartway width and the radius of the cul-de-sac.
Because there's no provision that somebody has a party where they're gonna park.
Correct. I believe it's a 32-foot cartway with a 50-foot right of way.
Michelle, I need your help with this one.
I don't think you showed the width of the plan.
I know it meets the ordinance requirements as to whatever salary
Is required.
And that would allow parking on both sides.
It would allow some parking along the road.
Yeah, without the emergency access, my envision is somebody having a party and you got cars on both sides, how are you gonna get a truck down the street? Yeah, the cul-de-sac, that's just my thought process. Hard look at as far as somebody goes.
And we certainly understand if this moves forward through land development, we'll be working with the fire marshal and the review for the emergency access, so we'd certainly be getting through those reviews.
The fire inspector reviewed those plans. For one.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
Said the fire inspector reviewed both plans, the one with the emergency access and then this one without. I prefer to the one with the emergency.
With the
access.
emergency access. What's that, definitely something to come out that act.
And I'm with John in the open space, I think it's much preserved, I mean, that's a premier lot. Spot in the township, it's really, the other thing that I'm concerned about too, when we get to more detailed things, is that I'd like to see it completely open, you just mentioned it too, that would be accessible. So we'd have to have some kind of deep restriction on fencing and things like that, because I don't want to see a 6-foot stockade fence against my way, I would not prefer that at all. I would probably don't like that, but I particularly don't like that, so I don't want to see that.
Well, it is part of the corridor overlay district, so we would be looking to approve all the materials.
In the same spirit of that, because it's in that overlay district, my concern would also be that the uniformity on the York Road side. There's a both side of York Road, so that we're looking at similar lighting, landscaping plants, et cetera, that sort of aesthetic look.
Understood. And for this, since it is a single family residential, for lighting, it would really probably just be maybe 1 or 2 light poles within the roadway. There's no proposed lighting along the perimeter, or within the open space area. We certainly are planning to buffer and add landscaping all along that corridor. So I do think where the open space is proposed is advantageous, both because it is against York Road, so it provides more separation from the homes and from the vehicles on York Road. And the same to the south where the townhouses are, it just helps to give that additional buffer to those residents as well. So we do have existing vegetation that will remain along that property, but then we'll also be supplementing with new.
And if correct me if I'm wrong, but the developer is willing to do all the sidewalks as requested, including the ones that are already easements. Correct.
They're willing to, you mean an off-site sidewalk?
Yeah.
They would be willing to do that if the fee in lieu of the open space. That would be the trade-off.
Can I request that, Michelle, that they turn in an estimate to you, so I have some idea of what the value of that is, since I don't have an idea.
Sure, can you do that as part of your preliminary plan submission
The value of the off-site
for the fee in lieu of
sidewalk.
for the fee in lieu of open space that you're asking for?
Yes,
You have to give the township the fair market value of the area of open space for the fee in lieu of, and that's what they're asking for.
That estimate, not the estimate of the sidewalk.
actually both probably.
Well, yeah, you could do the sidewalk too. That's easier.
It's easier, but actually installation is not because of all the grading changes and there's a lot of rock and it's a significant distance. So it is a benefit to the township, and we know that the township was very interested in making those connections, and we're happy to do so, but there's only so much money available to make all these improvements, including road widening and all the other required.
And certainly with York Road being a state road, we'll be coordinating with PennDOT and I have everyone on board with that as well. I did start to reach out verbally with PennDOT for that, and they thought it would be very difficult to design something within the right of way there, but I said, you know, if we continued on, then we'd start those meetings and have conversations with the township and PennDOT and everyone together.
It's just-
And typically, I don't think I have a problem with it not staying in our right of way, that it could meander as long as there's a connection.
And that was sort of the thought, right, is that it would be more of a pedestrian path, and then understood if it connected to Meeting House, then it would come back in through that right of way to make that connection. But that's why we showed it outside of the right of way there, just because we know there are a lot of challenges as it's gonna get to construction for that. Especially from an accessibility perspective, and we know there's rock through there, so just trying to come across with the best plan that we can to make that work.
And just out of curiosity, what valuation on the homes are you looking at?
It's not-
Exactly, million.
900.
I'm sorry,
900.
900.
Obviously, it's not a huge site. There's some challenges to shoving this many houses under less than 7 acres.
I know you say that, but really, I mean, it complies with the ordinance completely, except for active open space,
I think except,
which, oh, I don't.
even if it was more, passive open space, I might feel a little different about it.
So you would prefer active open space on there rather than sidewalk
No,
connections?
More
walkway?
passive,
Oh, passive,
yeah,
so the
so you have
common
more
open
open space, yeah.
we need the common open space
Yeah.
requirement though. We do need,
And a portion of the active, so essentially the common would be increased.
What is your total then? I was missing.
So we have, the required is 1.45 acres of common open space, which we comply with. And for the active open space, you're required 2.5 acres when you have more than 10 lots, and we have 0.63 acres of that. So we're about 1.9 acres short of active open space.
Out of curiosity, where does that 0.6 out of the plan?
It's not broken out on there, it's just shown as an overall open space on the plan,
Right, 2.08 acres.
yes.
Yeah, it's very to say.
well, would the township want to acquire 2 acres of active open space and put in pickleball courts or some type of fields or something, is that?
Maybe it's not much to do that.
Yeah, I'm just asking, that's what you were.
Right.
There's lack of actual space, it's just more space.
Yeah.
That makes, and I understand that, and I understand your point about the open space, absolutely no, but I also think it's a huge benefit to provide the connectivity, the pedestrian connectivity off-site, which is not required by any ordinances, and it's a significant cost to the developer.
That's why I asked for the estimates.
Yep, understood.
The only other question I have is to go to Michelle really on the utility lot or your spill basin or whatever you want to call it. And you said there's an easement for the house that's there. Can you explain that?
Yes.
How that's,
So actually, on the sketch plan, we show the utility lot, which is for stormwater management, as its own lot. But because of the comments regarding that minimum lot area, instead of it being its own lot, we would make that an easement that is part of lot 11. So lot 11 would get larger, and the stormwater basin would still be where it's shown, but it would be within an easement on that lot. We would still make sure the HOA maintains the stormwater basin so that it's not the responsibility of that homeowner, but it would be part of that lot to be maintained by the HOA.
is that common, Michelle?
Is it common? I see more where they're on the separate lot, but this is acceptable according to the ordinance. And I just wouldn't want that homeowner to be responsible for its needs.
We did have it that way. I know it was a different application, but the previous application we had before was similar. It was an easement on the residential lot.
All right, as a schedule plan, we typically don't vote, so we give you some direction and move forward to see what we come back with the plan.
Great, thank you very much, appreciate your time and view.
Next item on the agenda is land development 19-02. The applicant's 1549 Benning Road, for the location of development. They're seeking revision to the record. We received this application on January 29th of this year. Developer is Shahada Contracting LLC. Revision to the record plan is necessary due to the change in the developer seeking to the previously approved. Changes include grading changes associated with increased house and footprint sizes on each lot and the addition of a retaining wall throughout the site. The application is seeking Board of Supervisors feedback, approval for their revision to the record. Is there a representative of Shahada Contracts here?
Well, we run in, of course, with the consulting, the engineer for the project. As Scott said, simple amendments that are in plans to basically show increased house footprints with increased something avoided. And additionally, some grading changes were involved. Several retaining walls are now shown on each lot to accommodate those changes. Essentially larger yard space for the homes.
I have a couple questions. And what's the highest that the retaining walls are going to be?
The lower lots, back cul-de-sac, so those walls reach about 11 feet. It's tall. Most of the walls are 6 to 8 feet. The site, it's the highest wall would be like that. Lower corner, about the point there.
And do you have material selected yet, or you're making that up?
It's a typical site bed block wall. Blocks about, I think they're 8 inches high by 16 wide, something like that. A typical kind of retaining wall you see. I'm not sure the colors are determined or anything like that. Not like a concrete wall, not a cinder block wall. Something.
So I'm a neighborhood kid and I live on one of the houses on Stony Road. And I went up there with my friend who lives down in the cul-de-sac, right? And what's gonna stop me from popping with that 11-foot wall? It's an 11-year-old boy.
Fence, safety fence we provided on the town beach these walls.
That 11-year-old boy's gonna want to hop. So
Ideally, you use the walking path provided on the far left side of the property. I already like that.
right, that was my next question. Is where do you have like between the other than the side?
No.
Yeah.
It does appear as there's a gap. Between which
I'll be spoken around.
Each wall will be on its own lot. It's maintained.
can somebody walk in between?
They could. Yes.
What's the state?
Right. You need a motion?
Yes, to approve the revision to the record.
Make a motion to approve LD 19-02 Stony Road.
Can I get a second? All in favor?
Yeah, I have a question before you go.
Okay.
My name's Dan Sperry, live at 1459 Stony Road. This plan started off in 2019. Slope issue is always an issue. It took years to get improvement. Now they're coming in making drastic changes, drastic significant changes regarding the slope. There's neighbors giving about the slope of the properties. Weren't allowed to disturb or start out slope issues, and now talking about retaining walls. This was a big issue from day one. That sidewalk that goes from Stony Road down to the cul-de-sac was originally supposed to go behind his house on Stony Road and come out to a direct intersection with the street across the street. But I just can't believe that it's just that easy that after all the time that went through with this slope issues, that it's just that easy to get approval to make these drastic changes.
I think actually the retaining walls will avoid some of the changes to the slope. In other words, instead of having transition soil, this will raise the levels of the lots and try to avoid some of the things.
Right, but now you've got all these walls sitting back there with that open space was supposed to be. And now we have these big huge walls with 5 or 6 properties. That was supposed to be open space. But yeah, between the houses on Stony Road and the houses on cul-de-sac.
It was not open space as typical
Not that,
development.
not that.
It was always gonna be part of someone's backyard that they have a right to
Right.
develop or grade as long as they meet ordinance requirements for impervious surface and building coverage and the like.
The open space, like per ordinance, is actually at the bottom of the lot. Below the newly created bold, which you gain access off of, Bristol Road.
I just think ridiculous. Whatever, thank you.
Anybody else?
Next on item on the agenda is resolution 2025-15. TD Bank authorized representative update for the general fund. This resolution updates the signature card, TD Bank General Fund, that includes President.
Motion.
Make a motion to approve resolution 2025-15, bank authorization representative.
Second. All in favor?
Next is resolution 2025-16. This is again a TD Bank authorization resolution. At this time, this is from Park and Rec Fund.
Make a motion to approve resolution 2025-16, bank's authorization representative.
Second. All in favor?
Next is resolution 2025-17. This is an authorization update resolution for townships liquid funds, like in state for township. Again, it's to pass supervisor.
Resolution that we approved. Resolution, I make a motion to approve resolution 2025-17. LGIT authorized representative.
Second. Favor?
Next is resolution 2025 17 updates, 18, excuse me, updates to the authorized representatives. Excuse me, updates for the pension administrators resolution. Again, this updates the OPEB trust and pension funds to include supervisor paper.
Make a motion to approve resolution 2025-18, pension administrators.
Second. Favor?
Next is the road program. The road program bid opened on February 10th. Low G&B construction at $690,430.80. For the 2025 road program, we budgeted $455,000 to the highway fund and $265,000 for the general fund for a total of $720,000. Therefore, the bid came in at $29,569 less than budgeted. Therefore, I recommend awarding the bid to G&B Construction.
Any questions?
Yes. I've got to use that before.
Yeah. And the fine result. The sidewalk project donated the Stover Mill over.
Any questions?
Make a motion to approve the 2025 program bid.
Favor?
Next is the reassignment, the board's wishes of the board supervisors liaisons. During the 2025 reorganizational meeting, supervisors divided the liaison duties between Chair Cox and Vice Chair Rialdo. With Supervisor Tabor now on the board supervisors may wish to redistribute the liaison duty. Yes. Right now, administration, emergency services, financial advisory, police department, water and sewer, authority under Chair Cox. Park and Recreation Board, Planning Commission, and Public Works Department are on Vice Chair Leota.
Well, I'll take, administration.
Okay.
And police
Okay,
and financial advice.
okay.
I'm going to stay with planning commission, public works, and pick up water and sources.
Parks and Rec, services.
Okay. Okay. May 13th, is that right? So moved.
Second,
All in favor? Aye.
Okay, next on the agenda is the treasurer's report for the month of January 2025. Expenditures outpaced revenues by $653,077. Real estate transfers posted $55,652. Building permits posted $7,800. Our income tax posted $193,031. And local service payments posted $11,050. Fund balances for January are as follows, subject to audit. General fund $14,540,101. Firehouse and equipment $733,094. Road machinery $164,208. Capital projects fund $204,269. Highway 8 fund $8,918. Parks and Recreation fund $658,772. Parks and Recreation Capital Fund $107,547. Capital Reserve $89,298 for a total of $16,506,247.
Thank you. Michael, any questions?
No.
Rob, any questions?
no,
Can I have a motion?
Make a motion that we approve the treasurer's report for January 2025, subject to audit.
Second.
second,
All in favor?
Aye.
My last item is bill payments. I request approval of the bill payments for February 3rd, totaling $297,179.94. For February 17th, totaling $397,616.25.
Michael, any questions?
No.
Rob,
no,
can I have a motion?
Make a motion to approve bill payments for February 3rd and February 17th, 2025, subject to audit.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay. Solicitor's report, you're up.
So the sidewalk program at Alms House has hit a snag. All the residents except for one have given us the easements necessary to install the sidewalks. There's a drafted resolution for your decision will be adopted. That gives Kyle the authority to proceed with condemnation if the final effort in negotiations is not successful. If you want to adopt that, we can do that by making a motion to adopt resolution 2025.
Michael, any questions? No.
you said Alms House.
Katie?
It's on here.
Okay, just.
You're right.
No, no questions.
Okay, have a motion.
Make a motion to approve resolution 2025-19, the Guinea Lane sidewalk condemnation.
And
Second.
second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That's all I have. Okay, thank you. Engineers report.
First item I have for you is regarding the Warwick Village Commons Tractor Supply Development, otherwise known as Land Development Number 05-11. We are recommending a certification of total completion for that development and the release of all escrow in the amount of $200,724.91.
Michael, any questions?
Yes. So when I drove by the other day, several of the trees have died. So are they responsible to replace them at this point or not?
They would not be. Several of
No.
it, we just had them replace the trees before the weather turned at the end of the year. Are you certain that they are dead?
Looked dead to me, but not.
Okay, so why don't we make it on verification that all the trees are
do that.
Or, I love it.
I'm gonna make a motion to approve LD 05-11, the Warwick Village Commons Tractor Supply to release all escrow contingent upon checking to make sure all the trees are alive.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'm gonna ask to meet out there then with you, so we'll know which ones you're coming with.
Okay, I drove by the other day, I saw a pine tree or two that was brown, so just my thought process.
Okay. Second item is escrow release number 2 for the Pulte Black Cove, otherwise known as Jamison Place. Land development number 1501. We are recommending a reduction in their financial security in the amount of $1,312,975.75.
There's a lot of big stockpiles of dirt still on there. Is that contaminated soil that
Oh, it
needs
is
to go
not.
away, or that is just construction material?
It is. Yes.
Can I have a motion?
Make a motion to approve LD 15-01 Jamison Place. Consider escrow release number 2.
All in favor?
Aye.
And the third and last item I have for you is regarding land development number 19-02. The land development we were just speaking about located at 1549 Stony Road. And it is recommending approval of a reduction in their financial security. It's escrow release number 2, and this reduction would be in the amount of $97,376.90.
Michael, any questions?
No question.
Robin?
No questions.
Is there a motion?
Motion to approve LD 19-02 1549 Stony Road for escrow release number 2.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right, old business, Michael?
None.
Robin? Pat?
No.
New business?
I guess I have to meet Michelle.
Yes.
Robin, any business? Pat? Public comment? Seeing none, I'll ask for a motion.
Make a motion to adjourn.
All in favor? Aye. See you all.